Goodness, welcome to part two of the all-male virtual book fair. And super excited. If you didn't see Monday evening, there were 15 gentlemen on with me. I have 5 this evening, this afternoon. Maybe more will come, maybe not. But I'm going to be sharing their books, their covers, and where you can give me till Monday to get that lined up so that you can still support them via email or their websites by Monday. So be on the look out for that. I'm going to post their picture and their book covers on by Monday with the information on how to find them, how to reach out to them, and of course find them on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and LinkedIn, hopefully. So I'll have those pictures for you so that you will be able to find them and locate them and be able to support their books. That's number one. So again, I'm Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the author community, the book business bosses, and the host of the Live Your Best Life podcast and broadcast, helping you get your message to the masses, turn your words into wealth, and live your best life. So I'm an author and a publisher of many books, but pleased to bring to you this weekend, happy Juneteenth weekend and happy Father's Day weekend, all that. Oh yeah, we've been just celebrating the gentleman all week long. So happy Juneteenth, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and celebrating the gentleman this week on the books that they have written. Now, from part one of the main things that I've heard, oh my goodness, I've never seen that many men on a panel at one time. And oh my gosh, I didn't even know that many Black men wrote, and all that range of intellectual property on one event at one time. So you can imagine my inbox, my email, and even the people that I had discovery calls with this week, they have just been like amazed, like, yes. So first off, congratulations to you, gentlemen, for all that you've written and all that you are putting out there for the world to see. And I want to continue to be a platform and a conduit for that, continue to promote that. And so look for events from me all summer long. The all men may be back maybe near the holiday. We'll jump back on, gentlemen, probably during around November, December, and celebrate that again. But because yeah, everybody loves seeing it. So super excited. So first off, I want to start with the gentleman who was not with us on Monday evening. And I want to start with him first because the rest of you have introduced your books. And then we're going to be on just a little bit because I have a couple questions, other questions I want to ask all of you, especially about your writing process and really encouraging men to write. I realize that certain formats interest certain people, but I really want you to be an encourager today to encourage people to write, not just as me as a publisher, but as a person who wants to have and encourage other people to activate their voice, have their voices to be heard, and leave a legacy for the next generation to come. So let's go to Baltimore, one of my favorite cities. I always eat my fill of seafood when I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, with Mr. Benjamin Hicks. He's going to lead us off today and introduce his book. Do you have a copy of your book handy? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say, he sent me one. Yay! So I have one too. But Mr. Benjamin Hicks, Mr. Benjamin Hicks, introduce yourself. I apologize for that. Okay. Introduce yourself, where you're from, and tell us about your book.
All right, my name is Benjamin Hicks. I'm from Baltimore. I've been writing since I was 15 years old. And in 1995, I started a small publishing company and a graphic design company. I've been a graphic designer for 13 years. And so what I did, what inspired me to write a children's book was my first book that inspired me, which was called Arithmecation. Arithmecation merges poetry with the timetables from 3rd to 5th grade. This is $5 called Arithmecation. That is merge arith and macation together. So this is from 0 to 12. It deals with poetry, merging poetry with the timetables. Then Byron's Tile was supposed to come out in 2005. Well, not 2005, it's supposed to came out in the 90s, but I had a problem with the illustrator. So I wrote another book called 365 Days of Blackness. It deals with 17 Black inventors from Jack Johnson. Everybody know about Jack Johnson because the idiot in the White House pardoned him. But a lot of people don't know that he's the inventor of the wrench. So every time you use the wrench, he invented the wrench. And it tells you how he invented the wrench. But he's not the only one in this book. You have John Lee, who's created the pencil sharpener. He also created the hole puncher. And then Byron's tie. Then Byron's tie came about. Like I said, I had a problem with the illustrator. So in 2019, I found the illustrator before then because the illustrator who did Byron's tie did the cover for 365 Days of Blackness. His name is Dirk Joseph. He's on Facebook as well. So when we did Byron's tie, I didn't know he was going to do the cover like this. And we discussed the cover, why he did that. And he was saying it's all about the tie. So that's why you don't see his face. So it's 16 illustrated pages that deals with how to tie a tie. But it's basically about a young man who's in middle school, who's being awarded all these awards. And so he want to be presentable. So to be presentable, he want to wear dress clothes and a tie. So he don't know how to tie a tie. So he has to find somebody in the neighborhood who know how to tie a tie. So when you read the story, you'll find out who helped him read the tie. But let me show you quickly some of the pages. This is the first page. This is the second page. This is the third page. This is the fourth page. But it's 16 illustrated pages, and this is $10. But then I got more creative because adults is not going to buy a children's book, know how to tie a tie. So what I did, I wrote a manual, 9 steps on how to tie a tie. So it gives you 9 steps how to tie a tie. This is for high schoolers and adults. This is $5.
Okay, so I need to know how to find you. Where do they need to find you to be able to purchase? Because I want the 365 Days of Blackness, because I got Byron's tie, but I need the 365 Days of Blackness.
Okay, you can go to my website. It's https:// Press webs.com. Again, inglesidepress.webs.com.
Okay, wait a minute, you forgot the MD. inglesidepressimd.webs.com. And I'll put that in the comment section.
Okay.
I love the 365 because I didn't know who invented the wrench. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to sit right here. I had no clue. Me and Fortune are looking at each other like, what? He invented the what? He invented the wrench. What? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So,
he also invented something else that a lot of people don't know. If you buy $1,000 tires, like they used to do in the 90s, it's a lock to lock the tires so nobody won't steal it. He invented that also. A lot of people don't know that. They just know that he was the heavyweight champion of the world. That's all they know.
Well, now we know. So we need that 365 days of blackness. You sent that one to me. So okay, so no, I'm gonna buy that one. I'm gonna buy that. I'm going to get that, and I want to put that on my website too. Is share. I'm gonna get that one. I'm gonna buy that one today because I really want that one. I definitely do. Thank you so much, Mr. Hicks. Oh, hold on right there. Hold on. Let me put that in the comments. So my cousin says keep doing black male authors every day. Yes, I understand. I love it too. So Mr. Hicks, and that's my cousin. His name is Benjamin too as well.
Okay.
So Ingleside Press.
No, it's https:// Press. md.webs.com.
Got it. I got it in there. It's good. It's good to go. All righty. Well, I'm gonna stay on the East Coast. Thank you so much, sir.
You're
And you look for something from me after we get off of here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stay on the East Coast. So Mr. Desmond Williams in Washington D.C. I don't know if that's 95 South or North. Which way is that?
South.
Depends on where you are.
If I'm in Baltimore, I'm gonna hit 95 South.
Right. You're gonna hit 95 South.
Yep. See, I wasn't too far off. I didn't know.
You know what?
I knew I was on 95.
You're right there.
Going north and south.
Yeah, and then you just get on a beltway and
boom,
you're right at my house. So yeah, just look for the smoke with the barbecue. That's my house.
I wish. Believe you me, my husband's gonna be smoking it up here in a few minutes.
Awesome. Yes,
well, introduce yourself and tell us some more about your book.
Good afternoon, everyone. I thank you guys for having me. My name is Desmond Williams. I'm a former teacher and principal in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. And my book is entitled The Burning House, Educating Black Boys in Modern America. And the title of the book comes from a Martin Luther King quote. King gave an interview to NBC News on May 8th of 1967, and he was reflecting on the civil rights movement. And one of the things he said, I think we had integrated into a burning house. And the reason why he said that is because he was looking at and reflecting on the civil rights movement. And he said, we didn't get everything that we had aimed for. And he said, essentially, the things we got were a list of what he called, quote unquote, bargain gains. And this book entails my complicity in harming Black boys. It's about my complicity and then awakening and then advocacy in terms of helping Black boys in school. The basic premise of the book is that there's nothing wrong with Black boys. There's something wrong with the schools that they go to, mainly racism / white supremacy. And I talk about my awakening and what that racism is and what it looks like. Because most parents, most teachers, most stakeholders in school do not recognize that racism. So these quote unquote individual rooms in the burning house, if you will, are places that hurt and harm Black boys, whether it be referrals for discipline, whether it's special education, whether it's a lack of culturally responsive teaching, whether it's the 80% teaching force that's white female, whether it's the 90% of counselors and school psychologists who are white female, whether it's the psychology that we're using, the Sigmund Freud, the Pia jokes, all of these people who create norms that people of African descent need to follow in order to be considered quote unquote normal. So I break those things down in very great detail, and I go to great lengths to show the reader what I had done wrong, and really outline and highlight my miseducation as a teacher and what I did to work my way through that to create better outcomes for the students that I was serving.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. It's such a, I think that was the hardest population for me to teach. Mm-hmm. Black boys are so complicated. That's a complicated population. It's just complicated.
And they are not. I'm gonna say that they become complicated because you would think something was wrong with your dog if it was meowing. You would say your dog was complex. Like, there's something wrong with my dog. Right. It's meowing, all over the place. But it's really not being in an environment that's conducive to who and what they are. And that's what creates the disenfranchisement that we see. And I mentioned it on our first broadcast. It's the same disenfranchisement that we see in education. We see it with the consistent need to get us to vote. Only 73% of Black men between the ages of 25 and 64 are in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Only a third of Black men only a third of Black men over the age of 18 have actually been married. So we are disengaged in all institutions, and that is because of what happens to us in school. Right. But in and of itself, when you break the machinations of the system, we're just people.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to teach at an all-boys school for 4 years, and then work as an administrator at that school for another 2. And it just became so obvious to me.
It's obvious. It's clearly obvious that, you know, there's a certain level of discipline that they need, and there's a certain level of learning skill that they had. And then all of a sudden, I was disappointed at the school where I was, because the STEM program and PE and technology was where they thrived. Mm-hmm. My boys thrived in those arenas.
Right.
And then they said, "Oh, we don't have the money for that." I said, "But you keep wasting books that we keep throwing out." I mean, I'm talking about textbooks, not the library books. I'm talking about textbooks. And y'all just said, "Oh, we're no longer doing that program." And you spend $100,000 on that, but you can't spend the money that it takes for expendables for something that you know they're all in. Their science, they're all into it, the technology, but you can't find money for that.
The machinations of the system.
I mean, because I'll move on, but technology used to be a behavior reward for most of the Black boys in the building. Mm-hmm. So they spent a lot of time with me because I was in the technology lab, and I had a seat for them, and I'm like, let them do what they do. I got you, you know, I'm right there with you, whatever. And they would, Ms. Wilson, this is what, you know, I didn't have any issues. I just knew that they were a very complex population. And I'm like, just a lot of times I would say, send him down here with me.
Just send him down. Yeah.
Just send him down to me. Let me calm him down. Let him get him. And don't you taunt him when you get him back to the room. Leave him alone. Just leave him alone. Don't
I talk about that in the book. He needs to be where he needs to be.
Yeah,
and if we can't do that, then there's something wrong with those adults.
That same thing over and over and over again. He already knows it. Just leave him in his seat and let's roll on. You know, let's move on. Anyway, we're gonna have a conversation in August, because we need to. I want a whole session just talking about that specifically. So
I'll help you in any way I can.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because I want the parents to understand that. Now, on another side of that, and be ready for this too, Mr. Williams, some of them is running games on white administration. Some of them are running that game on them too. And they would look at me and dip their heads, and I'm like, stop. You just you just playing games. You running games. You know,
I address that too. That's chapter 3. That's chapter 3.
I mean, you running game, and you know you are, and I'm looking, and they go, I know, Miss Preston. I'm like, get it together, dude. You know you playing games. All right, we got another conversation and another time together. But give us your website again so people can find it.
Yes, so you can find me on www.nylinka.org. That is my company website. Again, I work as a consultant. That's nylinka.org. That's also where you can find a book under the products tab.
Awesome.
And,
awesome.
If you purchase from me, you'll get a signed copy, and you will also probably really quickly, hopefully before Labor Day weekend, those who have purchased the book from me are going to get a companion piece for free, which is essentially a firefighter's guide. I talk about this notion of advocacy and firefighting for Black boys. I am 70% done with it. But you will also, if you purchase from me, you'll get the free firefighter's guide, which at this point is about 12,000 words. So
good. Okay, I want that to be out by August. I gotta have it ready. 70%, get the other 80. I'm gonna do you like I do Fortune. Okay, what's the deadline? All right, so let's do the deadline is Okay, so the deadline is like July 15th. Get that other 30% done so that we can be ready to roll it out, because that educational summit I want to be really key and be an opportunity for people to hear new voices and to get new resources to read. So
yes, ma'am.
That's your homework.
That's my homework. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's go back over to 65. Thank you so much. Let's come off of 95.
Thank you.
And let's go to I-65 North to Indianapolis to Mr. Fortune. I don't know how many times I've already said your name, sir. One of my favorite people, one that I used to see at in-person events all the time. But introduce your book and tell us how people can get it.
Well, most definitely. I appreciate the opportunity. Can you hear me well? I've got family and everything running around. Okay.
Oh, you good? You good?
Excellent. So yeah, for me, writing is a passion I've had. wanted to do it right for a long time, but I spent a lot of time moving away from where God had me going. And what ended up happening for me is that I ended up sitting in jail writing my first book. I wrote it on I had 5 pieces of legal sheet paper. I folded them in half, drew a cover on the outside, drew a table of contents, and I started writing out the content for that book. And the reason why I wrote that is because I had this firm belief that, the books could change my life. And my sister had sent me some books on from Napoleon Hill and on some books on habit changing. And I was like, you know what? I need to write something for my kids because I don't know if I'm going to change, if I'm going to stay changed. But when I got released about the first month after I got released, I ended up typing up those pages, thought everything was done, didn't do anything with it for about 18 months. So I had the book, now I finally written a little book, and I did nothing with it. But I ended up going to this women's empowerment event, and a woman put it on my heart. She challenged me to start to tell God's story, to give him his glory that I was taking away from his glory. And I was like, all right, like you have a point, because again, I was facing 12 years of prison. That's why I was been locked up for 9 months. I was waiting to see if I was going to prison for 12 years, and I had this opportunity. He got me out when it was my 3rd strike. I should have been going to prison, straight to prison. So he gave me that blessing already. Here I was, what I'm saying? Again, he put this on my heart to write this book, and I put it off for another 18 months. And so when I finally got that book done, I tell people, like, I had ideas from that first book. I only took the last page. There's 12 principles on that first book. It's like 20 pages, but it's like that last page had 12 principles. And I took that book and turned it into Unlimited Potential: How to Stop Living with Fear, Doubt, and Uncertainty. And I tell people, like, I had the idea for it, but most of this book was a download. I really don't remember writing a lot of the words. It was just like, it was downloaded to me. I was just the hands doing the work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now the other books I've written after that, Overcoming Procrastination, that was me trying to say, like, y'all need to get over these limiting beliefs. This is a thin book, very key to dealing with those the imposter syndrome that's key for a lot of high achievers. I work with high achievers, and they got this thing like, I'm going to find out. People are going to find out I'm not as good. It's like, no, get over that. Get over the perfectionism. I like to start teaching about the race formula, and the race formula came right here in this room, whiteboard. The fastest, but
you're breaking up on me. You're breaking up on me.
Yeah, can you repeat that? That sounded really important, but we didn't
get
it.
And you
broke up on me.
Yeah. Say it one
time. I'm gonna change my. Okay, cool. Yeah. So the where this came from, again, this one is another download called the race formula. That strategy that I teach in there on productivity, and that came from scripture talking about, the race doesn't go to the swift, it goes to and that idea of the race, I gotta I gotta finish the race, and then he gave me these ideas of how to marrying scripture. So again, spirituality with science, because there's scientific principles that goes along with understanding, goal setting theory and so forth, marrying them together into this formula. Again, God gave me an idea. I'm just being the hands for that. And then eventually I got to the point, I like these books so much, and I talk to so many people, business entrepreneurs and so forth, and I always ask them, and you say to do the same thing, Juju, the same thing, being like, so where's your book? Like, I was always asking, where is your book? And eventually, I started helping people start writing books. So I'm able to do all those things, help people define what their purpose is and start living on the purpose, start getting over and being more productive, and then also start helping them produce their books all through this company I have now, which with our belief of you're only one book away from having a breakthrough in your life and in your business. So I help people write books that transform lives and also help them grow their business at the same time. So that last book, which made me the first time becoming a best-selling author, is called Right now it's called How to Write Your First Book in Less Than 4 Hours. I'm relaunching that book here on my birthday in about a week and a half. It's shortened the name to just the 4-hour book, and updated it. And that book's gonna be launching again. One last thing, I'm doing my first anthology. Thanks to Juju, she told me to go ahead and do it. Cause I wanted to write. I have this idea, and so all of the come on here watching this. I do have Black men that don't have books directly toward them. So I really want to put together a men's anthology directed towards our young men to help them see these principles of overcoming whatever they've been overcoming, moving into entrepreneurship, so different facets, but having an anthology of men, strong Black men and women, men, brown and Black men, for our youth, to help them see how to change. All right. So I'm just throwing it out there right now. That's going to be coming out. I know there's some men on this panel that want to do it. I know.
I'm so down.
But
I'm about to jump out my seat.
I know it's ready. And Juju told me I need to do it. And I was like, let me do my own anthology.
Give us your website so we can find you.
Yeah, my website, you can find me at thoughtfortunepress.com, thoughtfortunepress.com. If you want a signed copy of, I'm really doing a special on the Unlimited Potential. That book I will definitely sign for you. The profits from this book actually go to literacy programs for convicts to help them. I wanted to give the book to people who in convicts trying to change their life, could help me. Right. Then come to find out, a lot of them can't read. So I can't really give them the book if they're not able to read. Right. So I'm going to programs to help them read, and I'll donate the proceeds to that.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. That is Fortune at thoughtfortunepress.com. Fortune at thoughtfortunepress.com. I'll make sure. Yeah, thoughtfortunepress.com.
Awesome. Fortune at thoughtfortunepress.com. Thank you so much. All right. The anthology, if you're interested, find them on social media to be a part of that anthology. He's going to crank it out and make it happen. I know that for a fact. All righty. Let's go to Louisville. Come on down 65 South to Louisville. We're going to start with Dr. Randall Weber. Dr. Weber, how are you, sir? You doing all right today?
So far, so good. What about you?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. Tell us about your book.
Okay. Well, I guess you could say there is a hierarchy among clergy, and I'm sort of a bottom feeder. I've ended up doing what other people don't want to do. A lot of that is preaching funerals. In my lines of work, 20 years as a professional athlete, and another 35 or so working with the homeless. A large number of the funerals I've done have been for African Americans. And I regret to say that given recent conditions in Louisville, my book is relevant. But this is an anthology of African American funeral sermons called A Balm in Gilead, Eulogies of Comfort. And it's, my thesis, which I argued in the first chapter, is that Black and white folks have been living side by side, though sometimes in insular communities, for about 4 centuries, and have been teaching each other their worship styles. So you've got some cross-fertilization, but you don't have, in terms of worship styles, you don't have an amalgam or hybrid thing. You have a variety of styles. And we have anthologies to our funeral sermons to exemplify different approaches. 2 of them, I think, would be especially relevant to the current unrest. One is what I believe to be the very first publication of the typescript that Martin Luther King wrote for the eulogy for the young victims of the 16th Street church bombing. When he preached the sermon, he diverged from the typescript, and the version he preached has been published. The other one was by Barack Obama, our clown-in-chief's predecessor. It was for the preacher who was killed when the white supremacists shot up the church in Charleston. Both of those were written to situations of racial unrest and outright, multiple assassinations. One of the people who was on the Monday night thing, Robert O'Keefe Hassel, is among the contributors, and we have several others. Of course, you can get the book from Amazon or the usual sources. If you'd like to get it from me, I'll put my email, which is probably the easier way to get a hold of me, in my Facebook page in the chat box.
Most definitely. Okay, so Dr. Weber is being humble, but he is the director at the Wayside Mission. When he says he works with the homeless, he is the director. And I've seen him in operation with the Wayside Mission program and a hotel, Louisville, and the communities there. It is an incredible operation that he works with. And so we thank you. And on behalf of the homeless population, we thank you for all of the work that you do. And one of the other local pastors or ministers that's included in there is a celebrity of our own. And as a matter of fact, he went to school with my husband and played professional basketball. That's Winston Bennett. So he's included in there. So Dr. Weber's book is filled with celebrities, our beloved historians, former President Barack Obama, as well as Dr. Hassel, who's on Monday, as well as other pastors as well. So feel free to reach out to me if you want help finding Dr. Weber so that he can actually sign your book as well. I'll be happy to help with that process. Hit me up in Messenger or email me, bkroystonpublishing@gmail.com. As I said on Monday, and I'll say it again, I'm humbled to be even publishing and having my name associated with the book that has permissions to have those reprints in there. It was an awesome experience for me as a librarian and as a curator of such, to be able to know that I even had access to those types of materials. So thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Weber, and feel free to make donations to Wayside. If you want to help the homeless population, Wayside Missions in Louisville, Kentucky, I know will gladly accept. There has been great unrest in Louisville. We've made the news on the unrest going on here. So those bombing Gilead, those sermons of comfort are really strategic and really very, very timely. So thank you, Dr. Weber. We appreciate it. Anyone who needs any of that information, feel free to hit me up as well. Thank you. All right, we're going to stay in. You're welcome.
One clarification.
Yes, sir.
The King eulogy actually is not a reprint.
Oh,
as far as I know, it's the first printing.
But we do have.
Yeah. And my contact information is posted in the chat box.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's an honor to work with you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we're staying in Louisville with Pastor Timothy Anderson.
Hello, how are you? How's everyone?
I'm fine. Take it away, sir.
All right, so again, just so glad to be here. And my book is the Seven Spirits of God. And how it came about was just like it was it's interesting is that I preached a message several years ago to our congregation, and I'm the pastor of House of Praise here in Louisville, Kentucky. And I preached a message several years ago that was the 7 spirits of God. And after the message, it just kind of stayed in my spirit, to where I was just like, there's more, that there's something else with this. And over, several years, I finally captured it, and it's just been a blessing to there is an intimacy of when someone's reading a book that really touches me, because someone's taking time out of their life to it's just like it's kind of like a waltz, if you will, to where someone is taking time to connect with written word, and that right there. So I deal with things about the spirit of power, the spirit of I deal with strength, glory, and honor, and wisdom. So many different things, blessing, and spirit of riches. There's so many things to where it can help us in every facet of our lives to live the best life that we can for God. And right now, especially here in Louisville and across the nation and the world, we need to really have the fullness of the Spirit of God working in every area of our lives, so that we can not only change our lives, but we can impact and bless others to help them to lift up and be all that God wants them to be. And so I'm just excited to be part of it. And I can be reached right now. I'm still working on my website. I'm almost there, but it can be reached on my email is Timothy Anderson and the number 25 at att.net. And then also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. And to get a signed copy right now, to either inbox me, and then it's also available on Amazon. But I would love to be able to do a signed copy, just to have that personal interaction, because I just appreciate anyone that purchases a book from me, and I believe that God is speaking and giving as D. Fortune said, it's just like it was downloaded. I believe that God just really is pouring it down. And like he said, it's like we're just capturing what the Spirit is giving. So I put my heart into it, and I really think it'll really be a blessing to help each one just, improve their lives. So that is it.
Excellent. Excellent. So I really encourage, especially anyone in ministry or who wants to increase their spirituality, to really purchase that book, because we need all of that in this time, in this season that we're in right now. I can't even put a name to what this season is. There's so much to it. It's so much going on. All right. So I want to spend the next, I need for you to give me one thing, each of you, just really quickly. I just want you to tell me one thing that you would tell a new author, given your experience, given your what you would. So somebody, because I did have somebody reach out to me and say, ever since I watched that, I've been trying to write. I've been working on writing. Now I do offer writing sessions, and I know Fortune does too, and help you to write that book. But as an experienced author, like Julie can tell me anything, Fortune can tell me anything. But as writers, what is one thing that you would really tell someone who's embarking on this process? You all haven't finished this process, but I just need one thing. That Pastor Anderson, you start. What is one thing that you would tell someone who's embarking on the right? It doesn't matter the genre, so it doesn't have to be fiction, Mr. Hicks, children's. It doesn't have to be that. But one thing, what would you tell people who are embarking on this writing process?
I would tell them the one thing that I've learned is that your voice matters. So the one thing to just trust how you receive the words, and how you see what you're writing, because it will absolutely touch someone. And if I can piggyback on that, want to be, when you're writing, be true to yourself. And don't write something that's not really you, just to try to appeal. Just people will see the truth, and that's what draws people to that integrity. So just know that your voice matters, and just put the time in to make it happen. It'll be a blessing. I promise you.
All righty. I'm going to keep on going down the line. Mr. Hicks, you're next. What would be one thing that you would tell somebody who's embarking on this process?
Be patient. The reason why I say be patient is because a lot of people believe that they can write a bestseller, which in fact, that's not true. You have to be patient writing. You have to be patient. The idea might not come to you. Get up, go somewhere, it might come back to you. Like I said, I've been writing since I was 15 years old. And being patient helped me with a lot of stuff, because a lot of stuff won't come your way. A lot of stuff you're not expecting to come your way. So I say be patient.
Be patient. Awesome. Awesome. Mr. Fortune, you next. What's your one thing?
Yeah, for me, my one thing is to think profit first. And I like using the acronym of securing the bag. See, the definition of profit is to have a benefit, advantage, or a gain. So I mostly want people, even, I don't care if it's fiction, nonfiction, whatever it may be, how are you going to benefit, have an advantage, or what are you going to gain from publishing that book? And from when that mindset, you're going to write the right book that you need to get written out there. That advantage or gain might be just telling my story. I just want people to bless someone else. Whatever it may be, know what that is from the beginning. Not only is going to give you that incentive to continue going forward, but you also are going to know what to do with the book instead of like, it's done. Like, now what? You know what how you're going to use that book.
Perfect. Oh, perfect. Let's advantage. What was the other one? Advantage, benefit.
Yeah, secure the bag. So bag, benefit, advantage, gain.
Gain. All right. I like it. Oh, he's all about acronyms. I love it. I love it. Dr. Weber, what's your one thing?
I'm largely going to echo what some of the others have said, and say, do what works for you. Of course, I couldn't do anything properly researched. That's why I did an anthology.
Right.
While you're being patient, don't be excessively patient. Start writing something. Otherwise, you'll never get through it.
Perfect. Perfect. You got to start. You got to start where you start. Mr. Williams, what's your one thing?
I would say, as a former elementary school teacher first, who taught writing to very reluctant students, write every day. When you're starting the process, it's literally like driving a car in the dark, and the only thing you can do is see the first 15 to 20 feet in front of you, and that's enough. Write every day. And if you are at a point where you're sitting down to write and there's nothing there, then read and critique what you've written before. But engage in the process every day. What I have found is that the enemy of writing is not bad writing. It's not writing at all.
Oh, come on, dude. Now that'll free.
So write every day. And if there's nothing there,
yes, sir.
Just read what you wrote and stay engaged with the content that's on the page. But it's nothing wrong with going back and reading 10 or 12 pages, because that is going to keep your energy moving towards completion. And there are lots of people who have unfinished products. Can I tell a 30-second story?
Sure.
Les Brown once said, he was giving a motivational speech, and he was talking about an old friend, and he ran into her son, and unfortunately this lady had passed, and he said to her son, he said, whatever happened to that cookbook that she wanted to publish? And he said, you know what, she never got around to it. And the words Les Brown used were, the cookbook died with her. Mm-hmm. So engage in the process every day. Write every day, and if nothing is coming out, read what you have written before to stay engaged.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, I lost one client because she died before I got the book in my hand. So whew, I'm that way. And I'm with Miles Monroe, and I'll end with this. You know, the richest place is the cemetery, because that's where the books died, and the idea went, and the discovery went, and the thing I woulda, shoulda, coulda went. And I've had several clients that have come to me and said, I can't come out of this pandemic with nothing in my hands. And I've heard that repeatedly. And, and I'm the same way. I mean, I didn't. I've got one at the editor, and one at the proofing on Amazon, and the other one's at the illustrator. I'm not coming out of this without, something in my hand, because you just cannot. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. So I think I'm going to end with that, and letting you know, do not come out of this situation with not anything in your hand. Write down your feelings, your frustrations, anything. Just write something down. Now, as a piggyback to what Mr. Williams said, I encourage people, they can read what they wrote, but if they start editing and changing, that kind of gives them that writer's block. They just like, well, I didn't think it was good enough, so I didn't do anything. Whatever. But yeah, I read what I wrote because it gives me energy as to move what the next step is and what the next level is. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, so much for being with me today. I greatly appreciate it, because it was just 6 of us on today. We got to talk a little bit longer instead of 15 on Monday, but I really appreciate it. Take advantage of the voices, following these men, encouraging these men, supporting these men, the men we had on Monday too as well, but really take advantage. I think one of the beauties, and it will be the last thing I say, I'm a teacher, so I can talk a long time, but one of the things that technology is really giving us the advantage of is being able to hear voices that we've never heard before. Yes, so, and be able to support books and people that we've never seen before. I love it. I think it's an awesome opportunity. Thank you all again. Thank you for those that are going to watch on the replay. And tomorrow, 10 a.m., hit me up on Father's Day. I'll be back in this space with the Royston men, and a commemorative for my father who's deceased. But on a Father's Day special for Live Your Best Life, that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll be going live as well. So super excited about that. Thank you, gentlemen. You all have an awesome day.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you for the platform, and thank you for being so gracious and being a visionary. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You all be blessed and everything.
Right, you
Thank
too.
you.